Yeah, but now Aaron,
Good
we see
thought.
a side to you that's
Just in time.
Reb Yaakov, excuse me, good thought. Before you start this year, could I take a few minutes, or if not, I won't.
I'm not wearing socks.
we don't have a minute yet.
I something need to get.
Byron had an interesting day. I think he gets.
I need you to be interested in this, Reb Yaakov, as a paisik in the neighborhood. That's why I'm the only reason I wouldn't bother. Mr. Gold from my block was Nifta Shabbos. Mr. Gold from my block was Nifta Shabbos. About 12 o'clock, let's say, right? Amos. So there's a whole Hatzalah was there. I'm not talking. There was the ambulance. There was 5, 6 guys, a whole bunch of chevra. They couldn't save them. So he ran up behind the neighbor for 50 years. So I was outside Elaine's house with her, and one of the Hatzalah guys came out, and he said he passed away. So his son was making Sheva brachas in the Share. He made a chassan this week. His son Mark. So Elaine said, "What do we do? We got to tell Mark." So that's all the guy said. "Don't worry, I'm taking care of it." Now I don't know what that means, because I know I walked. She lived me well. I walk to Aaron every Shabbos. It's 15-minute walk from my house to Share. A good 15 minutes there and back. I don't know how long it took. Whatever. The sun was on Rose Street way less than a half hour. So when that Tzollah guy said, "I'm taking care of it," I don't know what he did. And I don't want to cast aspersions on him, and I'm not going to approach him. But as a Rav in the neighborhood, you should not I think you should find out what they did, that the son was able to come to the house. Because the man was dead. There was no decisions to be made, garnish. They didn't call him to the house to make any decisions. You know,
it could very well be that they just radioed to another Hatzalah guy in the shower.
So even that's not allowed.
So even that's no good. How could you do that? Exactly. I was waiting for somebody to say, "Thank you very much, Aaron. There's a $5 for you after this year." I was waiting for that. Well, you can't do that.
So where's Landau? Because we had this in the Sukkah. Is it Shabbos is no longer for them, or is it that
it happens to be when we were going through our trading with the same Rebbeim that give them their hechsher on Shabbos. Shabbos still counts. Zilzal Shabbos is still something that we take into account.
That's right. It's like
Jesse, but it's very different. You're not doing Pikuach Nefesh, but this is not either.
That's not true. When we're searching for a missing person, there's a reason, and it's Pikuach Nefesh, and we're able to do whatever we want. We're told specific ways to use your car, specific ways to do lots of stuff, because Zilzal Shabbos is still an issue.
The man was dead. He was laying on the floor in his house. He was dead. There was nothing to do.
Is it possible that they thought that maybe the body would have to be released, medical examiner, things like that?
I don't, Aaron. I don't know, and I don't want to ask our Tzollah guys. I don't have enough clout, and I don't know anything halachas to ask them.
Right.
So what would be the point? Just to have a fight or an argument with somebody that I don't know anything
Well, it has been pretty quiet. It's been pretty quiet for a while.
Hold on. Rabbi, when did that stop you? Honestly, when did that ever stop you?
Rabbi, I'm on the chair. I'm listening to this. I'm like, what?
You're getting soft. You're getting soft there, Rabbi.
Rabbi, what's going on here?
I just want somebody with some intelligence to find out what happened.
All right, I'll try and work on it and see. But there's nothing you can do, even if there is something. That's a different. It's a different conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can always ask Rabbi Flaum. Rabbi Flaum is the posek.
Yeah.
Oh, the Heintige Schwer.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'll go together with Aaron.
Yeah. Now for sure you're not getting clarity.
Yeah. Whatever. Okay, I'm saying I don't know. There's not much to do, but yeah. All right, whatever it is. We got a minion on here. Yeah, we got a minion. All right, shine. So what are we up to now? Yudzayin and Aleph, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Mishnah.
Mishnah, right? Okay, so here is a sequel. The Gemara tonight has a long shaklavataria. But it's a little bit more intimidating than it actually is. But So if you distance the schach from the walls by 3 tefachim, then it's passul, right? Because it's more than loven. Meaning air becomes passul with loven. Anything more than 3 tefachim, passul. This is actually one of the more difficult things for people to chap, because it ends up being that there's a couple of different measurements with schach passul. Air is passul more than 3 tefachim. Then we're going to see that in the middle of the sukkah, schach passul is 4 tefachim. And on the side of the sukkah, schach passul is 4 amos. Right? So, but right now the Gemara is saying that if there's space in the sukkah, then it's 3 tefachim. Then it's the Gemara says, we had this case before. If you have a house that fell in, the roof fell in, the sikach hagam, and you put schach on top of it. If there's from the kaisel till the schach 4 amos, then it's passul. Right? Because more than 4 amos, passul. Less than 4 amos, we're going to say dofen akuma and the wall bends. And you have a chotzer that's surrounded by porches, right? Which is basically you had a porch. I don't know if it's so much necessarily a porch, but whatever it is in front of you have a chotzer that's made in a U shape, like Rose Street Taka, right? And then you built these porches, and then on top of those porches, you decided the whole Rose Street decided to make themselves a schach over it. So they took the schach and they put it over the porches. So now, but on the ends, it's less than 4 amos. So that's the case, and then it's no problem, right? As long as it's less than 4 amos, because we're going to say dofen akuma. That's the second case of dofen akuma in the Mishnah. And the third case, the sukkah gedola. You have a large sukkah. Shekifua b'davar she'ein mesachem by. You surrounded it on the outer edges. You surrounded it with schach that you're not allowed to be mesachah with it. If under it is 4 amos, it's possible. Meaning you had a regular size sukkah and you ran out of schach. So what you did is you put boards around the end, because you know that there's such a halach as dofen akuma, meaning that anything on the edges of the sukkah next to the walls makes the wall, we look at it like the wall just bends, and therefore we're going to judge it as a dofen akuma, and then the sukkah is going to be kosher as long as it's not more than 4 amos. So basically, we have 3 cases teaching us the exact same thing, right? Which is that dofen akuma, up to 4 amos on the sides of the sukkah. You say that we look at the wall as if it's bent, and therefore it's fine. So Gemara says, kalhani lamali. Why do you need all this for? Why do you need 3 cases of dofen akuma? So our answer is if you're going to say a house, the case of the house that the roof opened up, these mechitzas were meant for a house. They were meant for inside of the house. But a chotzer that has these porches in front of it, and you're resting the schach on top of those porches, the mechitzas lav sadra vidi. The mechitzas were made for the houses, not for the sukkah that's on the inside. Maybe there you don't say dofen akuma. Say Amos. So I would think maybe you don't say dofen akuma. So tzricha you need it. And if you say these two, mishum this schach on schach kosher, because they're schach lamaisa, you put up kosher schach. Ava sukkah gedola, but a large sukkah shekifu b'davar she'en mesachim by, and you put around the sukkah something that you're not mesachim with it. The schach is schach passul, that it's really schach passul, meaning to take a wall, real boards, and you put it around the edge of your sukkah. So you could say that those boards are an extension of the walls. But to just take schach passul like metal or something that's not makabel tumah, so that doesn't work. The schach is schach passul who aim Allah. So I would think maybe you don't say doven akuma. So tzricha, therefore, we're saying yes, it's fine. That's why we need all 3 cases to tell us that you're going to say dofen akuma in all of the above cases. Fine. Okay, so I'm a rabba. I found the Beirav, they were sitting and they said, Avir passul b'shloisha. Right? Avir, if you have blank space in your sukkah, but nothing over it, just air. Schach passul, that's over shloisha, that's with 3 tefachim. Anything more than 3 tefachim is going to be passul. Up to 3 tefachim is mutter. schach passul, but you put schach passul in the middle of a sukkah, then it's passul ba'arba, it's with 4 tefachim. Right, so he's saying that avir, which is the way we pass like this shita, air in the middle of your sukkah. Again, it has to be told where it goes the length of the sukkah. Otherwise, you just have a corner of air in the sukkah. As long as you have 3 kosher walls, you have no problem. Right? When you have avir in the middle of a sukkah, we say that avir is passul. Let's say you have a 4-wall sukkah. In the middle of your sukkah, you have some avir passul. So fine. And either side of that air, you have 3 walls. So you have a kosher sukkah. Just the middle, it's going to be a problem.
Now we're
Right?
assuming
It would have to be talking about a 3-walled sukkah. Yeah.
we're assuming that it's going the same height as the sukkah, not 3 tefachim above.
We're talking about where it's just air in the middle of the sukkah.
Meaning it doesn't meet, the schach doesn't meet towards the wall. So if the schach were to continue, it would hit the wall. We're not talking about above.
Not above. No, just like a skylight in your schach. Right? That's what we made. That's what we mean. A skylight in your schach. But a skylight in the middle of the sukkah, you'll still have 3 walls on either side. Right? If you have a 4-walled sukkah. We're talking about where you have, let's say, a 3-walled sukkah, and this air goes through. So then that might be a problem. Not might, it would be a problem. And the same thing with schach passul. Schach passul would also be a problem. So that's what Rabbah said. He found the Rabbanan the Bei Rav, and they said that air.
So if you have 4 walls, this is not an issue?
Correct. I don't see how this would be. It would be
Unless-
an issue under it. It would be an issue
Unless
under
the air
it.
goes diagonally from one corner to the next, then you'd have
Right,
2
right,
sukkahs with 2 walls
right.
each.
Fine, but if it's
We're
like in the
going at an
middle,
angle, it'd be-
if it's in the
Correct.
middle, it's not a problem.
It's the middle, yeah, because you can have 3 walls on either side, unless you don't have a shear of a sukkah. If it's going to be, it's got to be at least 7 tefachim from the air to the wall. Right? It's got to be at least 7 tefachim from the air to the wall. Right? Otherwise, not a kosher sukkah. As long, whatever it is, anytime you have a passul in the schach, you have to look up and see 1 second. Do we have 3 kosher walls, or really 2 kosher and 2 and change of walls? Right? They what do you call it? Do you have 3 kosher walls? If you have 3 kosher walls, then you're going to be fine. Right? Yeah. So that's what they said. That schach passul is 4 tefachim. Now there's going to be a whole back and forth here that maybe schach passul should be 4 amos, not 4 tefachim. We say that 4 amos, it goes on the side because we say dofen akuma, right? But in the middle we wouldn't say. That's what Rabba's saying. I'm sorry, that's what the Bei Rav is saying. And now we're going to have a back and forth whether it's 4 amos. And I told them, Avir the passul b'shloisha min nalachu. How do you know that 3 tefachim of air of no schach makes it passul? Because we learned in our Mishnah, if you distance the schach from the walls by 3 tefachim, then it's passul. So schach passul nami lo lusal ela b'arba amos. So schach passul should also not be passul only for 4 amos. The Tanan, because we learned in the Mishnah, right? Right. So the Mishnah says dalet amos, not 4 tefachim. Right? And they sold me Barmi no dahi the Rabbi Shmuel. You see, you can't bring a raya from our Mishnah. Our Mishnah is talking about because it's dofen akuma. We wouldn't allow 4 amos, right? You have to keep it out to dofen akuma. Meaning, so it only works for 4 amos because it's next to the wall, and we look at the wall like it bends. But if it would be in the middle of the sukkah, you wouldn't get 4 amos. And I told them, so then again, this is the back and forth. Again, he wanted to prove from our Mishnah you have up to 4 amos of schach passul. They told him back. What he told our Mishnah is by the walls, not in the middle. In the middle, you only get 4 tefach. And I told them back. Let's say you had schach passul less than 4 tefachim. And then you had air less than 3 next to it. What's the din? Ksheira. It's kosher. Right? Now we gotta have it's a little bit it's not complicated, but it's a little technical. You have a sukkah 7 tefachim by 7 tefachim. Right? You can theoretically have a sukkah without any kosher schach on it. Talk about a legal loophole. You have
Yaakov, there's some good pictures that are very clear. I posted.
Oh yeah, you posted. Okay, thank you. So you could basically, so if I don't want to look at the pictures, but you could have a very easy legal loophole that you have a sukkah 7 tefachim with no kosher schach. How? You have less than 4 tefachim of schach passul, or 4. Well, you have exactly 4 tefachim of schach passul, right? And then avir less than. Well, the truth is, I'm sorry, you're going to need a little bit of schach. You're going to need a drop of schach, right? Because you'll have a little row of schach, let's say a half a tefach. Then you have 4 tefachim of schach passul, right? Let's say metal bars, and then 3 tefachim of air. Givaldik, you don't need to buy. So if you have a 7 tefachim sukkah, you have no problem, right? So so the Mishnah says that's kosher. Fine. Now, what happens if malya b'shpudin? Let's say you fill up that space of air with metal poles. Then what's going to be the din? Psula, because you have more than 4 tefachim of schach passul. So the Gemara says, shouldn't avir, which is passul with 3, be at least as chomer as schach passul ba'arba? Meaning, which one is stricter, air or schach passul? So obviously we're going to say air, because air you only get 3 tefachim of. Schach passul you get 4 tefachim of. So clearly air is the more strict of the psulim for schach. And you're saying
no.
Why not?
Because avir, even in a very good, well-made, it's full of avir. I don't know measurements, but if you have bamboo, you have a nice bamboo sukkah or a nice schach sukkah, whatever. There's air in between everything. You probably
That
have
doesn't count. That counts as nothing.
I understand that, but you probably have 30% air in every sukkah.
But if it doesn't count, so then it doesn't count. It's really nothing.
But you're measuring it now against schach passul. I'm trying to say an advantage that air has over schach passul. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything.
If
No,
you had
but
schach
meaning-
passul the same as the air in a regular sukkah, it would be the same as the air.
Maybe,
There's no difference.
maybe not. Gershon, put 40% of metal bars in the sukkah, and I'm sitting next to you. I have a sukkah just has 40% air. Nobody's going to go into your sukkah. They're all going to come to me for the cake. They're going to say, this guy has a
Might
passul
be.
sukkah. Look at this, he has all these shpudim in the sukkah. What kind of sukkah is that? And you have
We just had a
the same
Mishnah. The
amount.
Mishnah says it's fine.
You're treating it like regular math or something, but doesn't work like that.
No, the Gemara is just trying to say which is better or worse. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm not doing anything. It's a new and improved Aaron Hurwitz. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm just saying the Gemara is talking about avir versus shpudin. That's all I'm saying. That there's avir, always avir in between the schachs. That's all.
Right, but the point is that in halacha, what's stricter, air or schach passul? Air. You have to say air because air is 3 tefachim, schach passul is 4 tefachim. Right? So he's saying air is the more chomer. And the Gemara is saying, well, if you had air there, then it's going to be kosher. But if you replace air with schach passul, then it's going to be passul. So it comes out that air is the more lenient, right? When we're basically saying that it's more chomer. So he's saying, so how could that be? So must be that what? So what does he want to prove from that? That it has to be that schach passul is going up to 4 Amos. Yeah. So okay, so let's see. It's not really proving that. He's just trying to prove that since you're disproving your air, you're also going to disprove schach passul. Okay, v'amruli, and he said to me, I'm going to turn it right back at you. According to you too, the amrit schach passul passul b'arba amos, right? That you say it's passul b'arba amos. Let's say you have in a large sukkah. Ma ilu ika schach passul pachas midalet amos. Let's say you had schach passul less than dalet amos. So according to you, it's kosher, right? Obviously not by the wall. By the wall, everybody holds it's kosher. In the middle, it's less than 4 amos. And then you have air that's less than 3. What's it in? It's kosher. What are you going to do if you fill it up with metal things? It's going to be psula. So he said, you have the same issue. Here you see that even according to you, if you have 4 Amos of schach in the sukkah, and then you have schach passul, it's actually going to make it more chomer than if it was just air. Fine. So v'aminu lu'ano, and then I said to them, "Hi, what's the case? Bishlam aladidi." According to me, damina arba amos, that I say that it's up to 4 amos on Talmud Beis now. Mishum shiura, v'lav shiurahu. The whole issue is whether it's a shear or whether it's not a shear. Right? It's not dofen akuma. It's like with everything else in shiur. Is it a shear of 4 amos? Is it not a shear of 4 amos? I love shiurahu, but this, right? Schach passul is not a shear. Even the shava shiurayu la'adadi, since the measurements are not equal, loy mitzdarfi, and they don't combine. Right? Because the shear of schach passul, the shear of avir is not the same size shear as schach passul. According to you, that your whole issue is because it separates. Right? Shear, where you get 4 tefachim from? Where does that come from? Right? Because it's considered its own rishus, like we learned 4 tefachim is its own rishus. Mali is pali with schach passul. Mali is pali with schach passul v'avir. Who cares if it's separated from schach passul, and who cares that it's separated from schach passul v'avir? Yeah. So according to you also, granted the shear is not the same by sukkah gedola. The sukkah ketana, milo shava shiurai, but by sukkah ketana, is it not the same shear? Right? So, meaning they're both gonna answer. If it's in a sukkah ketana, meaning a 7 devil, 7 tefach, they're both gonna make it also because you're not gonna have the proper shear. Who there, the reason why it passes it by a small sukkah is not because they don't have the same shiurim. The shear of the sukkah there, it's possible because you don't have a proper size sukkah. Whatever you do, it's not a properly sized sukkah, so therefore it's not going to work. Fine. So that's the back and forth, whether we say 4 amos in the middle of the sukkah, schach passul, or on the edge of the sukkah, whether we understood or we didn't understand. The bottom line, we need to come out from this Gemara that it's schach passul, the middle of a sukkah, is a Machlokes. Either it's 4 tefachim or 4 amos. According to everybody, if it's up to 4 amos, if it's by the side of the sukkah, because we combine it to the wall, we say the wall bends. That's for sure. In the middle of the sukkah, it's a Machlokes. 4 tefachim, 4 amos. L'maisa we paskin that 4 tefachim of schach passul passes it. Fine. Then the Gemara in this shakavatari, the Gemara says that we don't combine passul shiurim to make, meaning if you have schach passul is 4 tefachim and avir is 3 tefachim, we don't combine. I mean, let's say you have 3 tefachim of schach passul and 1 tefach of air. Do we say your sukkah's passul? That for sure we don't say, right? Or you have 2.5 tefachim of air and a tefach of schach passul. Do we say they're combined to be 3 tefachim? No, they do not combine. Each one's shear is a separate entity, right? So Gemara says maybe we do combine, and therefore it should be an issue. When the shiurim are not equal to each other, they don't combine. But a beged to make the size of a beged to make it tumah is 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim. Meaning, if you're going to use it as something to sit on, the measurement's 3 tefachim by 3 tefachim. Hasak, if it's a sack, right? That's arba al arba. It has to be 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim. Or chamisha al chamisha. Skin or leather is 5 by 5. Mafetz, a mat, is 6 by 6. Tani Allah, and we learned on that. Habeged vasak, hasak ve'or, ha'or va'mafetz. Meaning, if you had a combination of a beged and a sack, or a sack and skin and leather, or leather and a mat, they're going to combine with each other to meet the minimum shear. Meaning, if you have a mat, the shear of a mat was 6 by 6. So let's say you have a 5 by 5 mat, and then you sew on some clothing to it. So then that makes it 6 by 6. They would combine. So you see that shiurim do combine. So the same way they combine there, why don't we say that schach passul will combine with air on top of the sukkah? Rebbe, you don't like that? You
No.
don't like the Gemara?
No,
What?
no,
Why?
because a shirt attached to a mat is just like a mat.
You're saying that it's an extension of the mat.
Yeah, well, touch it.
Right. Masha'ain came by a sukkah. Maybe we say schach
They're,
passul should
they're
combine with air.
different. They're different things. They're different things.
I hear. Okay. I hear. So the Gemara says a shtickle different teretz. The Gemara says, "Hasim b'tani timer." Rav Shimon matam hoyav v'roy l'tamim moshev. No, because there, all of them could theoretically have the same measurement by sitting, by having, becoming tamei by sitting on it. We learned in the Mishnah, hamekatzeya mikulon. Let's say, so we said the mat is 6, right, and leather is 4. So let's say you take a scissors and you cut each one of them down to a tefach. So then, hamekatzeya mikulon tefach al tefach tamei. Tefach al tefach lamai chazi. What are you going to do with something that's a tefach by a tefach? What could you possibly do with any leather or a mat that's 3 inches by 3 inches or 4 inches by 4 inches? No, you could take that patch and you could put it on top use it as a saddle. It'll help you out a shtickle. So whatever it is, there's something to that.
Isn't that only good until you get to Beged? Beged is gimel at spice, I'll gimel at spice. That's not even a tefach.
So what are you saying?
How does that work with that? You could be mashlim to a Beged with oil, or with sock rather. That means that out of the sock, you only need one etzba al etzba to make gimel al gimel with a Beged.
Maybe.
You don't even have Tamei Moshe. What is the Gemara answering? You have Tamei Moshe with all of them. You don't have with a Beged. Tefach al tefach.
No, but you can use it for something. Meaning, this is not lechatchila. It's like if it came off of a beged that was already bigger, and you cut it down, then it still retains some sort of.
But only to tefach al tefach, not down to gimel al gimel.
That's what it seems, right? That's what it seems. Because then you can only it can only be used on a saddle if it's a tefach by a tefach. I don't know. Right?
Yaakov, when we learned when the Daf learned this 7 years ago, it was, I don't have the article. There was an article in the journal about a Jewish fellow in the garment center. He had a business. He took little pieces, shloishes boys, smaller, and he had hundreds of jars all over his tables, and he would make clothing from mamish, small garnished pieces. He didn't just use it as stuffing for pillows, which people have a business like that also, but he mamish made garments from little shmata pieces. He had a whole article about him in the journal because he had yeah.
I'll say, here you go. So then it could be used.
Yeah.
So we're saying, so the Gemara's teretz is that since theoretically all these things could have the same shear, so memela, it's going to be they can all combine. Okay. Then the Gemara says basura. Now back to the original case. Basura, again, the Machlokes, whether the tefachim of the schach passul in the sukkah is either 4 tefachim or 4 Amos. So basura amri lahashmaitza b'hai lishna. Surah, it said over this Gemara in this lashon, ben hardam masni la, meaning what we just said. Ben hardam masni in hardam they had it the opposite. Amr Rav Yudam Shmuel schach passul be'emtza passul be'arba. In the middle, it's 4 tefachim. Min atzad passul be'arba Amos, and from the side, it's 4 Amos. V'Rav Amar bein min atzad bein be'emtza be'arba Amos. And Rav said, whether it's in the middle, whether it's on the side, it's arba Amos. Okay. So that's just a different version of Gemara. Fine. Tanan, this is all now the next 15 lines is all a repeat of the Gemara 3 days ago. Tanan, if you put it on a board that's wider than 4 tefachim, the sukkah is kosher. Right now, Bishlam al Rav Damer bein be'emtza bein benatzad ba'arba Amos. So according to Rav, that says you have up to Lama Amos Shemachik Shera. That's why a board of 4 tefachim is kosher, right? Because obviously, if you need up to 4 Amos to pass, so 4 tefachim is kosher. Hel Shmuel Amri be'emtza ba'arba Amos ba'arba tefachim. I'm sorry, I'm Mike Shera. According to Shmuel, it says that it's 4 tefachim. Why is it kosher? This board is bigger than 4 tefachim. Okay, we're talking about that board is on the side. So if it's on the side, everybody's minded that it's kosher because of dofen akuma. Tashema, shnei sadinim mitzdarfen, 2 sheets will combine. Meaning if you have 2 sheets that are obviously passul schach because they're makabel tumah, and they're less than 4, they do combine, and if you put them together on top of the sukkah, it's going to combine to make schach passul. Shnei nesarim ein mitzdarfen, but 2 boards are not mitzdarf. Meir Aimer nesarim b'sadinin. They nesarim kisadinin. Nesarim do combine like sadinin. It's good according to what Rav, the one that says that Rav said bein be'em to bein minatzad ba'arba amos. So whether it's in the middle, whether it's in the side, your measurement has to be 4 amos. My mitzdarfin l'dalet amos. It's mitzdarf for the 4 amos. Elo la'ach lishna da'amra Rav be'emtza ba'arba. And in the middle it's 4 tefachim. Hey chidami. So what's the case? If it has 4 tefachim, lamalu it's terufi. Why do you need it to combine? Even without combining, it's schach passul. Either less dalid, and if it doesn't have 4, so why? Dalid kanya ba'aman it all. It's regular reeds, regular schach. Why if it's less than 4 tefachim? Why should they combine to make it passul? The Gemara says no loylo. This whoever you can guess what the teretz is. Umay mitzdarfin. What does it mean? They combine mitzdarfin l'arba amos minatzad. They combine to 4 amos minatzad. And if it's more than 4 amos on the side, then it's going to become schach passul. And Toshima schacha ben esarin shel eretz sheyesh ben dalet. If they did a schach with boards of a cedar wood that has 10 tefachim, divrei akol passul. Everybody holds it's passul. Ein ben dalet. If it doesn't have 4 tefachim, Rabbi Meir passul. Rabbi Meir says passul. Rabbi Yehuda says it's kosher. Right? This is l'chayr according to Shmuel. So the Gemara says on Tamid Aleph, let's see, we have to do to finish the sugya. Umayda Rameir, and Rameir's Mayda She'im lost the place. Shem yesh bein neser leneser, kamloi neser, that if you put in between each board, that's passul, you put schach kosher, the width of a neser, shemriach psal beinayim, that you could put psal in between them, uksher, it's going to be kosher. So if you say that it's always dalet amos, regardless of where in the sukkah it is, that's why it's kosher. But if you go to the sheet that says in the middle, it's 4 tefachim, why is it kosher? One 4 tefach board should make it passul. Right? Who cares that you put schach kosher in between? So Rav Huna, Breder Rav Yeshua, he has a very interesting pshat here. The sukkah deloi havi ala shmaina mitzumtzamas. We're talking about a sukkah that has 4 amos, 8 amos exact, and actually exact 8 amos. Askinon. The art school has a good picture of this. The Yov Neser. What are you saying?
8 amos or 8 tefachim? 8 tefachim.
I say 8 amos. I meant
no, it is. It's 8 amos. It's 8 amos.
No, it's 8 amos. No, it's 8 amos. Right.
It's exactly 8 amos.
8
amos. 8 amos. Yes, because look, you'll see. B'yov Neser. What happens is you put 1 board, 4 tefachim, then upsal, 4 tefachim of kosher, then a Neser, then a board of passul, and then psal, schach, that's kosher. Psal is another word for schach kosher. Neser, and then psal, mehai gisa, that you put on that side, right? So you have a board, schach passul, that's 8 tefachim, then a board that's 12 tefachim, then a psal that's 16 tefachim, then another board that's 20 tefachim, and then a psal. So that gets you 24 tefachim. Mehai gisa from one side, and then the exact same thing coming from the other side. Uneser upsal, uneser upsal, uneser upsal mehai gisa. And so what's going to happen? The middle of the sukkah is going to have 8 tefachim of schach kosher. right? Meaning you had schach passul, schach kosher, schach passul, schach kosher, schach passul, schach kosher. And you did this from each side. In the middle, they met. So that means in the middle, you have 8 tefachim of schach kosher, right? So memela, and then you're gonna say the boards to the side of it are passul. Yeah, but that's dofen akuma. Then you have dofen akuma, right? Right, so then you have a hechsher sukkah in the middle.
Then you have dofen akuma from 3 sides.
So that's what the Gemara said yesterday. We have no problem saying dofen akuma. Or the Gemara said if I love it on both sides. But the Gemara a few blot ago said we have no problem with saying dofen akuma on all 4 sides.
On all 4 sides, it's not a problem.
Huh?
We had it by the itztaba in the middle of sukkah. Yeah.
Right, the middle of the itztava and also the ceiling falls in.
But
so you're gonna have
means the well.
What are you saying?
Saying by the well, Gershi. Saying by the well.
No, when the roof falls in.
No, when he had a sukkah that's higher than 20 Amos, he built an itztaba right in the middle. That's 4 by 4. So all 4 sides you say dofen akuma.
Right.
The bright said.
Yeah, but that's right. But over here you don't have walls.
You do have walls here. That's not the problem. The problem is the schach.
Right. Well, you do, right. You have those 3 walls, right. Okay.
No, but that's what it's. So basically, what it's saying. I hope the island sees the picture there, or maybe Aaron posted a picture. So basically, since you have 8 tefachim of schach kosher in the middle, you're going to say dofen akuma from each one. Yeah. All right. Fine. Okay, we'll stop here. All right. A good enough. A good vach. A good yor.
What's going on up there?
Who?
They're making a bonfire.
Reb Zev, it's only for singles, Reb Zev.
Maybe they're going to take off the Chamer Ben and Gershon also. They're going to do a 2-for-1.
I don't think your daughter will appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's Shikayat.
Yeah.
I'm surprised in the middle of your Zion on the base, you didn't say your thing with the Arba and Arba. Amos and tefachim.
I was going to.
What, the hay and the iron?
Yes, the hay.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I actually used it today. I was talking to the waiters about how difficult learning is. I say you got a guy who spends his whole 3rd grade, 2nd grade learning that a hey at the end of a word is lashon nekeva. Okay, give out. So now he gets to a test and they say shloisha, is that lashon zach or lashon nekeva? He writes lashon nekeva. They throw him out of class because it's a lashon zacher. Wonderful. I said, now a kid like this, he's off the derech.
Yeah.
So I mamish used that muscle today. But, whatever.
Yeah.
What can you do?
Okay.
So you said it. You were saying with the tefachim or with the boys?
The tefachim versus Amos. The Gemara right in the middle of Amud base. Right in the middle of the Gemara Amud base, it says Arba and leaves it, and then it says Arba Amos.
Hay is tefachim and iron is Amos.
Tefachim,
right? Because hay is zacher. And no hay is yeah.
Yeah. It's funny that only numbers are like that. The only ones.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, did they have to do that? I mean, did they have to do that? Whatever. That's my uppy course is coming out. All right, whatever. Sure. Yeah.
It's so the tax examiner should not know how the Yiddish accountant.
I don't know if it was them. I think whatever. All right, it's very good. Yashikaya, I get to vach.
All right, good talk. Good year. Sei gesund.
Yeah.
Good luck. Thank you.
Okay, sei gesund.
Tzviagu, you didn't post any big shilas for after the tightness. You never posted anything in the end.
Oh, I'll send it to you. You are, yeah.